everybody? It's your boy, Sechuayo, a.k.a. Coach Byrd, and I am the host of the BYRDCAGE Show. Today, a very, very, very special episode. I'm not even going to call them my guests because they're family. Today, talking about a very serious topic that we all need to talk about more, especially in our community, especially with our student athletes. On my left, I got my cousin Adrian Byrd, more like my brother. On my right, I got my sister, my cousin Tracey Hall, and we're just going to, just share our humble opinion on some things. This is her wheelhouse, so she's really going to share some things that you need to listen to and pay attention to and focus in on. But before we get started, hey, say what's up to the people.
What's up, everybody? AB here.
There we go. Cousin, say what's up to everybody.
Hi, how are you? How you doing? How's everybody doing out there?
All right, I appreciate everybody listening. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever the episodes come out. We're going to get right into it today. A topic that's close to everybody up here. We're going to be talking about mental health. Mental health, especially with the times that we're in right now with this pandemic and everything like that. Some people are really struggling, especially our student athletes. I mean, as an adult, we all struggle with some sort of mental health issues at times, but think about our children, our kids, 14, 15, 16-year-old kids trying to deal with these situations and how that's affecting them. So we're going to get right into it. I'm going to start with you, Cousin Trace. Do you think we pay enough attention to our student athletes' mental health?
I've said this numerous times. No, we don't. We don't pay enough attention to mental health in adults. So we clearly are not going to pay attention to it in kids, and especially our student athletes, because we believe that because they are athletes, they have the warrior mentality, the will to win. So, people feel like that their mental is never at question because they're always on go. So no, we don't. We definitely don't do that. Checking on our kids and checking on our kids' mental health is not something we do, especially our athletes.
And I know I'm definitely, I'm starting to learn, but especially in the beginning years, me coaching and everything, I was like, listen, we get on this court, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Let's put this work in. I'll see y'all tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Tell them all the
time.
What's
wrong with you? Why you acting soft? Why you know what I'm saying? So I was guilty of it.
Yeah, and we say it all the time. Leave it all on the court. Leave it all on the field. Leave it all out there. Right. Leave it all out there. And for years, people have used athletics. When your kid has high energy or your kid's going through things, put them in sports. Right. It'll channel their energy. Right. Keep them busy. It'll channel their energy. Nobody never thought it might be something else going on emotionally, right? Because you just, look at the energy level and you just be like, oh, put them in sports. So, we tell them, leave it all on the court, but what are they leaving?
Right, true.
And what are they walking away with?
True indeed. And once again, just on that note, I know I used to always say, I don't understand these 2 hours, you should be not focused on anything but basketball or football practice, everything that's going on outside, leave it out there when you're on the court, on the field and all that. But not thinking like, if it's really bothering you and it's really on your mind, stressing you out, how you just want to put it to the side for a second to, you know what I'm saying?
And when some of our kids, and I'm not, some of our kids, I'm not going to go too in depth, but when some of our kids are dealing with anxiety, anxiety causes your mind to race, right? So if you're telling them not to think about nothing out on the outside, they're trying not to. But with the mind racing, and it's a fast-paced race when you suffer from anxiety. And when other things are going on, you try to clear your mind, but it's hard. It's hard,
True. Hey, same question to you. What you think? Do we pay enough attention? Because you dealt with youth sports.
And the funny thing, we definitely don't. We really don't. But especially our coach, 8, 9, 10-year-olds. Mm-hmm. And we had a kid who was actually setting fires. And we didn't know nothing was going on at home. Right. But the parent would drop the kid off and just pull off. Mm-hmm. But the funny thing about it, and the kid actually told me, he says, Coach, I wish I could be here every day, all day. Because when he go home, it's a total different ballgame. Right. It's like he's got to deal with his mom, he got to deal with his little brother, little sister. He could have killed his family. Yeah. But they start that young and we don't even know it. Don't even realize it. And this is an 8, 9-year-old kid telling me this. True. So it's like, wow. And I'm out in the suburbs, so I got black, white, Asians, Hispanic, all different brands. And then the kids are talking a little stuff about each other, saying little names and stuff, because they win in the city where all black kids. Right. Now I got all different attitudes and different households and different religions I got to deal with. And that's the main thing. Like, the one little kid is like, football was a haven to him. Okay. That's his sanctuary. Gotcha. And then the mom would take it, and that's the main thing I like how some parents, they take away from it. You don't get a good grade, you can't do sports.
Right, right.
Because a lot of kids, they wouldn't do anything if it wasn't for sports.
Gotcha.
Which is the main thing, but like, as growing up, we of course, we had better bringing ups, so we were okay with it. It was good, but we had friends that we know that needed help.
It's true.
Or their families was like, they couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, and they wouldn't come to our house so they can eat. Or come to our house so they can just have fun, to be themselves.
True.
Half of our kids, our grades growing up, they had to be older than they were because they had to take care of their little kids, the little brothers and sisters.
Right.
Yeah, that's
So
definitely
it's definitely a stressful thing, especially as a little kid.
And it's, I guess not funny is not the word, but like when you look back and when I start, looking into this a couple years ago and things like that, especially with your help bringing it to the light and all that. When you look back, like you just said, like with our friends, like you just be like, man, that's crazy as hell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now, as an adult, I look back like he was crazy.
Yeah.
Like he was
Yeah.
going through some
Uh-huh.
things, but I was just like, he crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's definitely serious topic. You know what I'm saying? Why don't you think we put more emphasis on? I mean, it seems to me that more people are talking about it and bringing it to light better than in the past,
Right.
in my opinion.
Right.
But why don't you think it's just not like all the way out there, full blown? Like everybody's on this platform, like we got to champion this cause.
Well, I know for us culturally as an African American, mental health is a taboo topic because we've been bred to believe we need to get over it.
Mm-hmm.
We've been told numerous times growing up, what happens in your house stays in your house.
Yep.
Even when you went to school and you were struggling in school, they would ask you what's going on at home. You would be tight-lipped because you was told, whatever goes on here, you don't tell. So culturally, we're just learning to accept our trauma.
Right.
First of all, we've learned to understand what trauma actually is.
Yes.
And a lot of us have gone through trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've dealt with trauma, family members dying, in the streets, drug addiction, alcoholics. So now we're seeing that we actually grew up with trauma.
Yeah.
So now in this day and age, people are recognizing trauma. They're talking about trauma. Right. So now it's tapping away at the taboo topic of mental health, slowly, because we're now in the age of awakening, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's doing research, everybody's studying, and with the World Wide Web, information is so readily for us. You don't have to depend on grandmom or aunt to tell you the story of the family, because you can go on the internet and Google some stuff and find out all kind of stuff, right? So now we're in the age of awakening. People are starting to tap away at it because now it's not so bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we have to admit, and this is the thing, we have to admit when we're not okay.
Yeah.
Because we're living in a traumatic society. We're watching news day in and day out and seeing stuff going on all over the world.
Yeah.
All over the world. That's trauma to our kids, to our families. Like it's traumatic.
It is.
So now that we're starting to deal with and understanding what trauma actually looks like, I think that's why people are starting to basically kind of like, but they don't want to full blown talk about it, because if you full blown talk about it, it gives it. They want to. I believe, and this is my belief, that once everybody's going to have a crutch now.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to have a crutch. So we don't want to full blown it,
Right.
but we want to recognize it. We want to recognize it, but now we don't want everybody to fall into the, I got this, I got that, and so I think that's what, using it as an excuse, because we will use it as an excuse, won't we?
Definitely.
True. And just to let you guys know out there, my cousin Tracey, she's been an advocate of this, definitely active in the community. She has taken student athletes who has had record of having some mental illness, bringing them in to her household, straightening them out. They're getting college scholarships now and things like that. So trust me, she has dealt with this. She knows what she's talking about. And, you know what I'm saying, you need to just pay attention and listen definitely to what she has to say. Let's talk a little bit about social media, eh? Like, what role does that social media, the Instagrams, the Twitters, the Facebooks, whatever else is out there, what role, like, how does that affect mental health with our kids?
Well, they actually play the bully, because now you got all them bullies typing with the keyboards.
Right, true.
And they telling the kids business on social media.
Yeah.
And letting everybody know, this kid is crazy.
Right.
This kid ain't right. And his mom and dad, they're alcoholics. And so now that's when all the bullying stuff comes out, and that's when the kids want to fight, and that's when all the fights come out, social media fights, and then they bring it to school.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. Mainly, the social media is like this the devil. It's basically the devil.
Just as good as social media is, it is bad. And I say it's good because now you're getting kids, like during this pandemic, a lot of our senior high schools and colleges weren't able to put their talent out there platforming. Some of them were waiting for their senior year to get offers and stuff, and this pandemic really shut them down. But the social media still gives you a platform where you can showcase yourself, right?
Yeah.
But also with social media, make people think other people's lives is so much better. You know, and social media, just like I said, just as good as it is, it could be bad because social media only highlights the good moments. It don't highlight the bad moments. So if I'm an athlete or I'm a student or I'm a young adult and I'm a good kid, right? I'm having good moments, but I'm also having bad moments. Once I click on that Instagram or that Twitter, it'll make you put you in a bad place sometimes because you want to know why you're not there. You know, and even as an adult, I had my organization. My organization has been on paper for 7 years, since 2014. But I've been doing this work for the last 9. So, the last 9 years. So I'm looking at other people who jump right out and start an organization and doing this and doing that. And social media is making it seem like that, right? So me as an adult, I'm like, why I'm not there? Like, why am I still here? So social media, just as good as it is, it can be bad because it only highlights the good moments. You have very few people that'll jump on there because I know I do it. I jump on there and tell you about the bad moments. I jump on there and tell you, like, listen, I struggle. I got problems. I'm broke. I work 80 hours a week. Like, I'm telling y'all, because I don't want y'all to think y'all see me smiling and it's all gravy. Nah, I struggle. And it's okay to struggle. Just know you can't stay in that place, right? We can't stay in that place. So social media does play a big part. It plays a good part and it plays a bad part. I personally, when I'm sitting here, because like I posted a while ago, like, I know y'all. Like, I know you outside of social media, right?
Right.
Stop it.
Very much so.
Yeah, I know you, right? You posting this, and this ain't that. Stop doing that, because now the next person that's looking at it, that may be struggling with a depression or anxiety or any type of mental health, bipolar disorder, anything, any type of mental health issue, see that like, yo, like, my homegirl got X, Y, and Z. Nah, your homegirl ain't, right? Or your homeboy ain't. You know what I mean? So just, it's social media plays a big part.
Yeah, and it's you know, it's funny because we coming up, our 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old selves, we ain't had to deal with this.
No.
We ain't had to deal with people putting our problems out there for the world to see, people with the Twitter fingers bullying us like, got something to say, you got to say it to my face, but you're probably not going to do that because you're not tough like that. You know what I'm saying?
And it's just so crazy, going back to what you just said. I have a 10-year-old granddaughter. My 10-year-old granddaughter has a 33-year-old mother, right? So my 10-year-old did something. It had something to do with the phone or whatever. Mom upset. And I said, but you got to remember, you did the same thing, but you did it. Remember that long cord on the phone? I still got the jack. I still got the jack in my house. I said, you did the same thing with a phone. You don't remember the kids calling, hanging up on grandma? The kids was calling on the phone. My mom would answer the phone, and hang up on my mom. My mom's like, these darn kids. I remember taking the phone cord, you know what I mean, and just wanted to, but it was the phone, because kids would get on the phone and they walk. And next thing you know, the cord's all taken up. So my thing is, it wasn't as prevalent back then, but they had the phone that they was dealing with. We didn't have that. We really had to go outside. You wasn't getting on the phone like that. You know what I mean? Then my daughter's generation had the actual physical phone. Right? Now the grandbaby got the internet. So it's progressive. I don't know what's going to happen. What happened next? But it's the same issues. It's just this web is faster. And it gets it right. It's instant, and you can't pull it back. Like the phone call will happen, and you'll forget about the phone call next week because that was just a phone call. But the internet, you can always go back and look at it. Man, forever in the cloud.
Once you hit send, you can't retract it.
Yeah, it's in the cloud. Pull the cloud.
Somebody need to come up with that.
Yeah.
Like, give you a minute to be able to pull it back. Let me get that back.
Rewind.
Let me get that back. Talk a little bit about your foundation. You just mentioned
right,
it,
yeah.
so let the people know what we're talking about.
So I have an organization called the Daylight Foundation Incorporated. It started out as awareness for suicide awareness and prevention, an organization to help bring information and knowledge about suicide awareness and prevention. But in dealing with that and getting educated on that and getting educated on, underlying issues about suicide and how to prevent it, the preventative measures of it, we started tapping into the mental health piece. And my organization came about because in 2012, I lost my son to death by suicide. He was an athlete, honor student, college graduate, good young black man, and he had his struggles. He had his struggles, and struggles that I wasn't aware of, because as a parent, you working, you providing, you're there for him. You don't miss a game, you don't miss a school event. You're there for him, right? You're there, and you sometimes think being there is enough. Right. And I had an open door policy with my kids. We talked and we understand. We talked about a lot of things, but I don't think we ever really dug into the mental health, right? Because we think when you smiling and you walk around and you're successful, that you're okay, that everything's okay. So we didn't actually deal into the mental health issue. So then realizing that all the stress and pressure he was under, I said, hey, the other kids that come around here, they might be experiencing the same thing. Right. So when I started the organization, my target audience is athletes, because believe it or not, until Brandon Marshall came out, right, you didn't have a whole bunch of athletes just openly admitting that I got bipolar disorder or I have mental health. And it took him he was an NFL player for him to get diagnosed. He was not horrible, he was a roughneck in high school, a roughneck in college. Very impulse control issues, volatile, angry. They couldn't figure it out. They just thought he was a knucklehead athlete who they just want. But come to find out, he suffers from bipolar disorder. He had to get help. So now he's an advocate for it. And that's just what I'm trying to do, is just for us to understand we come from an athletically charged community, right? Camden is all about athletics. You can a game on a Saturday in Camden, football or basketball, will shut the city down. You won't see no movement. Everybody will be at this game putting all their energy into these kids. These kids. They rocks out with these kids. When them kids come, it's lights, camera, action for them. You had when I was talking to Wayne and Antoine Miller on their podcast, Wayne said, when you got on that purple and gold, it's a different breed. Like you feel different. So my organization just wanted to help the coaches, help the students be better young men. Be better young men, young people, young athletes, to help them understand when they're under stress. Let somebody know. It doesn't make you weak. It really doesn't. Just to say you're not okay, it doesn't make you weak. You know what I mean? Because y'all putting in hours and hours of working out and regimens and learning plays and remembering this and remember that. But then you got to go to school and be a student. Then you got to be a big brother. Then you got to be a son. Then you got to be, for some of our kids, an uncle. A father for some of our kids. You know what I mean? So it's a lot that they deal with on a daily basis. It probably was a lot that we dealt with, but we kind of dealt with it a little different. And because the circumstances and situations of technology is different, we have to deal with the whole situation differently. So I just wanted to start the organization. It's called the Daylight Foundation, just to bring awareness to suicide awareness and prevention and mental health as it looks in the black community, black and brown community.
Nice. Hey, before we wrap this up, just tell the folk what it is you do. You know what I'm saying? You've been working for the welfare department for forever.
I am on my,
let them know what what you got going on with that.
I'm on my 34th year at Camden County Board of Social Services. I have 45 months and 13 days to retire. I ain't who's counting, but I started as a co-op in Camden High senior year. I started a co-op, going to school half a day, then working half a day. Started off in the mailroom, then became a maintenance worker. Then went back to school, got some credits, and became a caseworker. Started off with mothers with babies for about maybe 10 years. And how I'm now do age blind disabled, which I deal with people, with disabilities, stuff like that. And how I got into that from my brother Ralph, God rest his soul. He was shot in the streets of Camden, paralyzed for 3 years before he passed. But he was only 43 years old. And he let me know as I'm going to see him at the nursing home, like, Adrian, I'm in my right state of mind. These people here can't speak for themselves. Don't come to certain times. So he was like, come different days, different times. So now I'm prepared, I'm ready. So now you can see the good and the bad in nursing homes. So and we had an opening for Medicaid. So I said, for me, him helping me made me help other people. That's why I became a Medicaid worker. So now I can tell my clients, watch out for this, watch out for that.
Right.
All nursing homes aren't good, and all of them aren't bad.
Right.
But this what made me become a Medicaid worker because of my brother. He was only 43 years old, and I watched him deteriorate for 3 years in the nursing home.
Right. Yeah, Ralph was.
Yes.
Ralph be out here working on my yard right
Yes.
now. He's still here, you know
Yes.
what I'm saying? But rest in peace, Ralph.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, one last thing. I know we're talking about mental health, and I mean, this ties into it because if our student athletes don't prepare themselves, or if they don't get the help they need to prepare themselves for life when the basketball stops, when the football playing is over, the baseball is done, you know, what can we do, or how do we show them that it's important to make sure that you're prepared for when athletics is done? Because we all played, and it stopped at some point.
Right.
Yeah.
But we were blessed to we all in successful positions, and we do what we do. But that doesn't happen for everybody.
That's one of the when I go out and speak to the high schools and the different programs and the college. I go to a few football camps in college, and I always tell the young people that I just want to have the conversation, the necessary conversation, and change the narrative to help them understand how to adjust when athletics stop and real life starts. Because one thing for sure and two for certain, no matter how good of an athlete you are, at some point it's going to come a time when that stops, right? So we have to, and coaches, parents, all of us, we have to put more focus on, because see, here's the thing about us. We come from a family of athletes, right? So we're athletically inclined, right? From our babies on up. They come out running, right? Got some type of athlete. So being an athlete for a lot of our kids, especially the black and brown kids, is easy. It's natural. Yeah, you got to fine tune them, make them a little stronger, build their muscles up, work on their diet. But what we need to start focusing on, because they're going to get that part, make sure we getting in their heads and make sure they understand what life is about. And that's a big part of a coach. Like one of the things when I coach, and I don't pride myself as being a good strategic technical coach, but when it comes to that support and getting the kids on their game, I'm good with that, and training and all of that. My thing for me was, I really used to get up. I worked 12 to 8 as a police officer. I would get up early to get to the school to pull their records from class.
Yes.
That was what my job was. I was assistant coach. I would pull the records. I would talk to the teachers. Because I need y'all to know, y'all can't do nothing for me on that court if, number one, your mind ain't clear and your grades ain't right. Because, like I said, athletics at one point, and it does for everybody,
That's true.
it stops. Will you be prepared? And us as parents of athletes, us as grandparents of athletes, us as coaches, us as community people that these athletes look up to, we got to have these conversations, and we got to call kids on their stuff. Like, you not going to class. Bro, I heard you ain't going to class. Yo, you need to go to class. Because somebody at some point is going to require that you work. You know what I mean? It's going to require that you work.
My thing was, when I coached at high school, I had the freshman team. I would always tell the kids, listen, I mean, if you're that talented where you can pick your own school, I said, pick a school that you know that you can go there for 4 years, but not just 4 years, but 40 years and beyond. Because you can't do the sports forever. And my thing was, I'm telling this to other kids, and not knowing that my kids would listen to it. My son graduated Harvard Business School, and now he's going back for his MBA. So that's icing on the cake. Anything else is icing on the cake.
And his son is in the NFL.
Oh, and his son is in the NFL, Shout out Byrd Gang.
Byrd, so I hope y'all listening to this. His son is doing all this while playing in the NFL. So he's not just resting on his NFL. I'm an NFL guy, and this is all I need to do. He's preparing for his future.
Yes.
He's preparing for his future. Well.
Yeah. One last thing. Athletics should always be the train. The locomotive that drives you to where you need to go. Athletics should always be that train. Like, if you can use athletics, you grab stuff along the route. Education. Make some money. Build some relationships. Like, it's the build. You get strength. Like, you get core values. You got to grab some stuff along the ride. Right. It's the train that push you through it. So you got to just grab some stuff along the way, and that's it. Use your athletics to get your education.
And that train helps other people behind you get on.
Yep.
Get on that train.
True. I might have to steal that one. I like that one. I have to steal that one. You know what I'm saying? Well, hey, listen. I'm trying not to cry. You know what I'm saying? But y'all don't understand how much these two right here mean to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know if they understand how much they mean to me. Like I said, we're cousins, birdseeds, but we're brother and sister all day, every day. I love them. I know they love me too sometimes.
All the time.
But hey, anything else before we get out of here?
I'm just good. Thank y'all for coming out. God bless. Good night.
Anything before we get out of here?
Be focused, be well, and be you.
I told you she was the one to listen to. I told you she was the one to listen to. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, make sure you like, click the like, you know what I mean? Subscribe, hit the notification bell. The BYRDCAGE Show, another one down. Again, I'm going to thank my esteemed special guest / family / guest. And I'll talk to you next time.
Peace.
Peace.
Okay.